Hello friends, welcome to another amazing weekly market breakdown. My name is Usdjpy and in this week I'll be sharing with you an analysis on Eurocad, Usdjpy and Usdzar. So this is what I do every week to help you understand the market easily and simply. So if you are new to the channel, make sure that you subscribe so that you won't miss when another video gets uploaded. So without further ado, we're gonna go into our weekly chart. So with this weekly analysis, we're gonna start off with the Eurocad. So now, as you can see here, we've already drawn our correction here for Eurocad. So the only thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna explain why have we anticipated the correction and why do we see ways that are gonna go to the downside, right? So why are we looking for ways to sell on this chart? So as you can see here, we had a impulse to the downside here, and then as we impulsed to the downside, we started to correct. So we had the first touch there, second touch, and then we had the third touch. Now at the third touch, as you can see there, we had a confirmation there. Let me just move this a bit. We had a confirmation there, which is the bearish pin bar. And then with the bearish pin bar, that's when the market started to shoot to the downside. And then now it broke this correction line there. Right, so this is what we have anticipated for Eurocad. Now we know that at every breakout there's always a pullback, right? That is, there's always a retest. So now, since now it has made the breakout on this correction here, now we're anticipating that the market is gonna push to the upside a bit. That is gonna make a pullback there, and then once it has completed with the pullback, that's when it's gonna shoot to the downside to complete the 90% rule. So basically what this means is that now for Eurocad, we're not going to do anything for it. We're going to just wait for the Eurocad to reach these areas here. And the way that I see the pullback like this, it's because you can see that the market struggled. If you can go to the 4-hour time frame here, you can see that the market is pushed to the downside like that. It started to struggle. So where there was struggle, that's where the market usually tends to reach to pull back to. So that is why we have our sell limit here, just to show you that we're going to look for ways to sell at that area. Or it could maybe do a pullback up until these areas here. So if it does a pullback into these areas, we're just gonna make sure that we look for ways to sell on that market, because it could be this pullback here, because you can see that after it has struggled here, it also made a small struggle here. So this was another struggle there. So it's possible that the market will just go to pull back to that part here, that is to retest here, and then after that it can shoot to the downside. So now this means that we're going to look for actually two ways, because the first way has a risk of something like that. So you can see the first way has a risk of 28 pips, and then now should it reach those areas that we anticipated earlier, that is looking on the 4-hour time frame, then the risk is going to be much lower, right? So it's going to be something like that, and that's definitely how we're gonna take the sell for this upcoming week. So that is all for Eurocad. I hope that made sense. So now we're gonna jump off into the next pair. So now we are looking at Usdjpy. So as you all know that for Usdjpy, we have anticipated last week in a previous video, we have anticipated that the market was gonna push to the upside, right? And if you quite remember, I even said that I was not gonna take the analysis, the analysis that I share, I was not gonna take the trade, because for that week I had other pairs which I've already had on my mind, and which actually gave me more profits than the one that I saw for Usdjpy. So what is it that I'm anticipating now for Usdjpy? As you can see here, if you're looking on a daily time frame, you can see that the market previously we were pushing to the upside, and then when it reached those areas here. So let me just analyze this one. See, we had an impulse, a correction, right? And then an impulse, correction, then impulse, and then we started to make a small correction, and then we impulse to the downside, correction, impulse. Then now we're starting another correction, right? So now when it reaches that area there, this then means that we're gonna look for ways to what? To sell on the market. So what this then means is that for this week, we're anticipating that for USDJPY, should it reach the areas there, right? So should it, as you can see here, it impulse to the upside. So now we see that it might do some correction there, and then now it's gonna push to the upside, and then when it reaches there, if it approaches that area correctively, then that's when we're gonna know that we're gonna put our cells there, and we're just gonna push it up until further down there, right? So that's gonna be our swing entries, right? And then we don't risk again more than 30 pips, right? Or you can just make it at 32, that's still fine, just to make sure that we put it above that area there. So let's just do that and say SLD, right? So I hope that makes sense. And then now that is all for USDJPY, and then now we want to move on into the last pair, that is the USDZAR. Now looking at USDZAR, we quite see the same thing that we have, we see the same thing that we have spotted on other pairs, but now it's to the upside. So as you can see here, we were pushing to the downside. As you can see here, in overall we are the bearish momentum, but now as we are approaching this area here, this level here, let me just get that level here. So you see that as we have approached that level there, that is the support there, the market started to correct on those areas there, as you can see. So you see here, we started to have a correction, so it was an impulse there, and then we started to make some corrections, right? And then after that we pushed to the upside, and then we corrected a bit, and then we pushed to the upside again, right? So now what we did was we had a pullback, right? So what this then means is that for USDZAR, if you go to a 1 hour time frame, you can see that we have completed the pullback right there. So now when the market opens, we are anticipating that the market is going to do what? The market is going to make the last retest there, forming a double bottom, right? Then after that it's gonna push to the upside. Let me just get that. Okay, so it's gonna push to the upside, right? So as you can see, this is basically what we have spotted for USDZAR, and now we're just gonna wait for the market to open, and then that's when we're gonna take our entry. So that is all for this week. That is all for this week. If we can make a quick recap, you can go to the USDCAD just to make sure that we've all understood everything. So for Eurocad, we're gonna wait for what? For the pullback to reach those areas or these areas there. Let me just put both of them there just to make it better, so it doesn't matter. So if you see the reversal, the candlestick confirmation here, that's when we're gonna put our sell stop, right? And then now that doesn't mean that the market won't push to the upside. It might even push to the upside. Just make sure that your stop loss is above this area here, that is this area of a struggle, right? So now if now you put it closer to this area here, that is if you're using this pullback, then at least our stop loss is going to be above that area there. Let's just make it like 27. Okay, so that's going to be the first and the second part, right? And then now for USDJPY, we only wanna enter our cells when the market reaches those areas correctively. But if it reaches that area impulsively, then that's when we're gonna wait for the market to give us another options, right? So now lastly for Usdzar, you can see that we had our correction to the downside and then it broke that correction. Then this was the pullback. So now we're anticipating that the market is going to complete the 90% room. So yeah, that's it, friends. That's our analysis for this week. Remember, I love hearing from you. I love reading your comments about what you think about this week. So please hit me up, send me a comment, send me your thoughts, and let me know about what you took from this week's analysis. Coincidentally, these are the kind of tools that I use for myself so that I can profit in the market. So if you like tools or if you like to get the tools, make sure that you email me so that you can get one for yourself. So from me, Sibusiso, I wish you a profitable week. Cheers.